In these videos, I've been trying to work out what might be the possible impact of Universal Studios GB opening on our existing UK theme park and amusement parks. And the comments I've received so far from friends and messages I've received online have pointed out that I'm being quite pessimistic, and that if I look at the case study of Florida, I'll be far more positive. And so that's what I want to do. Now, according to our CDB, sorry, at the moment we have 120 open theme parks here in the UK. They are big parks, small parks, seaside parks, parts of the country. There's a whole range of them. What might be the possible impact of Universal Studios GB opening on them? Now, Florida is an unusual market to compare. So when the Magic Kingdom opened in 1971, as you can see on there weren't that many theme parks and amusement parks. Well, that graph, by the way, is based on our CDB. It's an aggregated count of how many parks were open at any one time. And you'll notice in 1971, when Magic Kingdom opened, there were less than 15 amusement parks open in Florida. And then there was a little bit of a dip and a rise, and you'll notice it's kept going up. Interesting point worth pointing out, you'll notice that generally when Universal do something, Disney do something in advance. So Universal Studios Florida opened in 1990, they built Hollywood Studios in 89, Animal Kingdom opened in 98. Ready for when Islands of Adventure opened in 1999. It's interesting they haven't done anything ready for Epic Universe. The same happened, and I should have mentioned this in the Universal Studios Japan video, but I didn't, that they built Tokyo Disney Sea ready for the opening of Universal Studios Japan. It's interesting that at the moment there doesn't appear to be anything in the pipelines of a new ticket, a new gate for Disneyland Paris in response to Universal Studios GB, and that sort of follows in the same vein as Epic Universe opening. Anyway, going back to the total number of parks open in Florida and what it tells us, it's interesting. Oh well, it's worth pointing out. Busch Gardens was open before the Magic Kingdom. It opened in 1959. It didn't really start to become an amusement park and a theme park until 1970, when they started to add more amusement rides, and they didn't get roller coasters until later. You've got SeaWorld opened their park in 1973. So actually, sort of, there weren't that many parks already there in Florida when Disney built the resort. That's partly the reason why they did build it, because the market wasn't as competitive. Also, land was cheap. And then the parks have developed, the bigger parks, so Busch Gardens and SeaWorld, have developed partly because of the market that's come there from Magic Kingdom and then Universal. But Florida and the UK are different markets. So let's talk about size. Population of Florida at the moment is 23 million. Population of just England, not Britain as a whole, just England, is 57 million. Land-wise, you'd have to get Florida and tag on South Carolina for it to be the same size as Britain. So that's England, Scotland, and Wales. So yeah, Florida is smaller. It draws a lot of visitors from across America, from Europe, from Canada. Whereas in the UK, our theme parks are primarily domestic audience. We'll look at sort of like the numbers of people in a minute. If we look at coasters, you'll notice Florida hasn't got that many theme parks with lots of roller coasters. We've got Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, SeaWorld Orlando, Islands of Adventure, Magic Kingdom, and then you've sort of like got with four coasters, Legoland Florida, Fun Spot Kissimmee, and Epic Universe, and Universal Studios Florida. So we're looking at 8. Whereas there are 8 theme parks that have got 4 coasters or more. Whereas in the UK, you'll notice we've got Great Yarmouth Pleasure Beach, we've got Skegness Pleasure Beach, which is Bottom's Pleasure Beach, we've got Legoland Windsor, Pleasurewood Hills, Adventure Island, Drayton Manor, Chester World of Adventures, Fantasy Island at Inglemols. We've got Poltons, we've got Thorpe Park, we've got Flamingo Land, we've got Pleasure Beach Resort, we've got Alton House, we've got 13. So we've got sort of nearly double, I mean not, but nearly double the number of parks that have got 4 or more coasters. And if you look at Florida, most of the parks, once you strip out the Universal and the Disney, and then you strip out Busch Gardens and SeaWorld, most of the parks are very small parks. They're either sort of your fun spot parks, which are more midway attraction parks. They're not the large resort parks that we have in Britain. So what I'm telling you that is that perhaps we need to be careful about making the comparison. When Disney opened in Florida, there wasn't the theme parks already there to take business from. And when Universal opened, they were attracting business from Disney. People going out to Disney and then go to Universal. And then actually SeaWorld and Busch Gardens developed their ride sides in response to the market that is there. And remember, the 2 parks are close to each other, or closest to each other, unlike Disneyland Paris and Universal Studios GB, which are further apart. Now, what do the attendance figures tell us? So 2023 is the last one I've been able to get figures from for lots of parks and estimated figures from others. Apologies. So Magic Kingdom, 17.7 million people. Universal Studios Florida. So you'll notice top 4 are all Florida theme parks. So it's fair to assume, and having read stuff that's been released by the Orlando tourists board, but basically they're saying that people are going out for Magic Kingdom and, well, they're going out for Disney and they're going out for Universal, and while they're there, people are doing the other parks as well. And also American people, when visitors are coming from within America, they're doing the other parks because they've got season passes, and that actually those 2 parks are doing well because of Magic Kingdom and Universal. Now, when you look down at our parks in Britain, you've got 2.4 million, 2.3 and 1.6. Actually, those parks have got nowhere near the attendance of SeaWorld, Busch, Magic Kingdom or Universal. Now, say Universal gets, I mean, what's it looking at doing? Sort of like 8, 9, 10 million people per year is the ballpark they're talking about. If it's that, then actually, perhaps we might see in Britain what has been happening in Florida. Perhaps people say, well, I'm going to Universal Studios GB. Whilst I'm there, I might as well go and do Nemesis at Alton Towers, or I might as well go and do Hyperion at Thorpe Park. So there's those 2 things that are worth pointing out. And then you've got lower parks on there, because I said we've got more theme parks, but the attendance is low. So in Florida, you've got basically theme park market is dominated by Universal, Disney, and then SeaWorld and Busch Gardens. And then you've got fun spot parks, and they get less than 1 million people a year. Now, it is worth pointing out sort of the closeness of these parks. So SeaWorld Orlando is about 15 minutes from each of the parks. Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay is about an hour, 10 hour and 15 from both the parks. So we're sort of looking at here 15 minutes, hour 15 minutes. Now, when we start doing that, Thorpe Park, that's about an hour and 20, so roughly in the same ballpark. On Towers, about 2 hours, 7 minutes, so slightly further. And then your Flamingo Lands, your Blackpools are even further still. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, there is reasons to be positive, that actually the Florida theme park market, particularly your SeaWorld and your Busch Gardens, do well because of people going there for Disney and Universal. And a really good paper I read by two academics called Ho and Peng, they published in 2025. They actually show that in both Florida and California, the presence of large parks stimulates other parks developing. So actually, major parks help develop local parks. So perhaps that's what we'll see. We'll see in Britain what you're getting with SeaWorld Orlando, Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. But we need to remember those are 15 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes away from Universal and Disney. In Britain, your Alton Towers is about an hour and sort of 30. Your Thorpe Park, your Alton Towers is 2 hours. Your Drayton Manor is an hour and 20. And so actually, perhaps Thorpe Park might benefit from it. Your parks around London, particularly if that's where people are flying into, but parks further afield, maybe not. Um, and perhaps we might see the other parks not benefiting, particularly if they don't invest in new rides, which has been something that's come up before. That actually SeaWorld Orlando and Busch Gardens have been, particularly in the last couple of years, seems to be on some sort of B&M, pack it out with as many B&M rides as they can, but they're investing in new rides. Actually, if there is a good ride at places like Blackpool or places like Flingerland, perhaps people will make that drive when they're here in Britain, but it'd have to be a really good ride to make them do it. Now, of course, this is just worth pointing out that I think we're only going to see this in 2031, 2032, this sort of push over attendance, because the hype at the moment surrounding Universal Studios GB, if you look at the videos online, you've got American vloggers as well talking about how they're really looking forward to Universal Studios GB. They will come for the opening of Universal Studios Great Britain, as will people from America. And while they're here, they will visit the UK rides. But I think they'll do that once. Actually, how they develop the ecosystem in Britain, I think depends upon how parks invest. But perhaps there is more of a reason to be positive than there have been so far. When I've looked at Paris and Japan, those have looked sort of slightly more negative. But actually, there are reasons to be positive. Florida shows us that a couple of big parks can survive in the same ecosystem, and people will visit them if they're nearby when they visit the big parks.